Red in Arizona, therapy in the rocks. Sedona Red also represents youth, energy, and winning. Red stirs the blood, evokes the anger, and it drives the passion. Red describes someone robust and audacious, but red more than anything is the color of love, and you will love, and I mean absolutely love, this weekend. Red as in Sedona, red as in Sox. Are you sure you are ready? Interleague takes things to a new level, and it does so right now. Just another day in paradise. We're at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. We bring you interleague baseball for the Diamondbacks for the first time this year. This ticket is a hot ticket. If you have your hands on one of these bad boys this weekend, you have accomplished something special, because the Boston Red Sox are in town going head-to-head with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Not a seat to be had. You've got the best seat in the house right here on FSN Arizona. Well, hi there once again, everybody. This is fabulous. I'm Darin Sutton. He is Matt Williams. Glad to have you back at the ballpark with us. And when you talk about interleague play, Matty, the Diamondbacks a couple of weeks ago, they were rooked out of a big weekend. They played the Pirates. No offense to the Pirates, but it wasn't interleague ball. Do you like it now that we can ask you about it?
I absolutely love it. I was fired up coming to the ballpark today because first of all, we get to see the best team in baseball. Secondly, the Diamondbacks are playing so well, they've got a chance to actually beat this team. Actually compete and beat this team in this three-game series. I'm fired up. There's not a seat to be had out here. Red Sox Nation has invaded.
I will submit to you that one way they can beat them is with pitching. I think offensively they fall maybe a step short, but that pitching matchup, in my mind, edge Diamondbacks.
Yeah, you look at Josh Beckett tonight, 8-0 with a 2.95 ERA. You get by him, you've got a chance to take at least 2 out of 3 of this series. You got the big fella going on Sunday for the Diamondbacks. Looks good to me.
Well, for the Boston Red Sox, the best team in baseball. The Diamondbacks, the 6th best team in the big leagues. A great matchup, but my question for you is, why are these Red Sox, well, besides that audacious attitude that they have, why are they so good?
They just do everything right. You know, we've seen it with the Diamondbacks in the last couple of weeks. It starts with pitching. They pitch well. The starters are good. They go deep into games, but they play good defense as well. They've got good balance offensively throughout the lineup, and they score a boatload of runs.
Let me tell you why I think they're good. I think those two guys in the middle of the order make everybody great.
I think those two guys in the middle of the order are the best 2 RBI men in the game. I got to personally see Manny Ramirez on an everyday basis do it, and everybody knows about Big Papi. They are the best.
Euclid, Pedroia, they're better because of those two. This is the second series matchup ever between these two teams. You go back to 2002, and you look at the last time these two teams went head-to-head. The world champs went to Fenway Park. 1, 2, 3 wins. Go home, Boston Red Sox. It was a sweep. Let's have some fun tonight, all of us. D-backs baseball on FSN Arizona is presented by Miller Lite and the D-backs. Hard-hitting, great taste. Miller, good call by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By your local Arizona Ford dealers. Live life on the edge. Test drive the new Ford Edge today. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in MLB. Is it in you?
Chase Field on this Friday night, the place to be in the Valley tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. The Red Sox are in town. Hi again, everyone. I'm Todd Walsh. Welcome back to our coverage of Major League Baseball. As Darin Sutton mentioned just moments ago, this is only the second regular season meeting between the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox. And I want to take you back to 5 years ago today at Fenway Park in Boston. It was the marquee matchup, defending World Series champs, a couple of first-place teams, and 2 red-hot pitchers. Pedro Martinez was 7-0 going into this game. He struck out 10 Arizona Diamondbacks, including our own Mark Grace. Curt Schilling, well, he was 11-1 going into this game. He struck out 9 Boston Red Sox, and Schilling would pick up his 12th win of the year as the Arizona Diamondbacks won that game 3-2. Earlier today, we asked him if he remembered what happened 5 years ago today, and guess what? He did.
I remember that weekend was such a big deal because a U.S. Air Force pilot who had served in Iraq and was suffering from ALS had a chance to come to the game with his family. And he was a Red Sox fan. And he showed up at a game, and he had a hat that was split down the middle with Boston and Arizona on both sides. I remember Jose Guillen hitting a home run, and we won 3-2.
Of course he remembered. We'll go to a break. We'll look at tonight's starting pitcher for the Red Sox. He's 8-0. 8-0. Josh Beckett on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's been lights out for the last little bit. 7 2/3, just 1 run against the Mets last time. His name is Doug Davis. Hold on to your hats. Here we come, the Red Sox and Diamondbacks.
If you wear red tonight, you win. That's the bottom line. And there is a lot of red taking over this ballpark. There still are some seats left if you want to hustle on down here. Terry Francona, the #1 pick of the Expos in 1980 out of the University of Arizona. Let's take a look at his starting lineup. Presented by Mark Taylor Luxury Apartments. Lugo, Pedroia, Ortiz, Ramirez, J.D. Drew, then it's Lowell, the Captain Veritek, Crisp, and Beckett gets to hit for himself. Double D on the mound, and you can see last 3 starts an ERA of 1.59. Let's crank up this weekend. Let's have some fun with strike 1 over the outside corner. Matt Williams, tell us a little bit more about Doug.
Yeah, we talked to Double D last weekend about him throwing his curveball a little bit more. He said, yeah, that's an effective pitch, but I'm going to throw it regardless of whether it's good or not. His most effective pitch in his mind is that first pitch fastball that he just threw on the outside corner. That opens up his breaking ball, and it opens up that cutter that he has as a surprise pitch late in the count.
Last time out at Shea Stadium, 7 2/3, 1 run allowed. He beat the Mets by a score of 4-1. That's a changeup, and it's high, 2-1 the count. Lugo hitting just .217, but with 9 hitters, including the DH right there in front of him. He has 33 RBIs in that top spot. Cut fastball is low, 3-1 the count.
It's amazing in that top spot having that many RBIs. There's just the American League game is such a different game than the National League game. You got to have hitters throughout 1 through 9.
Nice little cutter on 3-1, an awkward swing.
Well, he started him. Everything is away until that cutter. That's a surprise cutter. Everybody knows he has it. If they are looking for it, they can lay off of it. But if he's able to start that pitch on the outside corner early in the count and get that strike, it opens up the plate for him.
They're going to go with the cutter again on 3-2. Belted, deep left field, way back and going. Home run number 4 on the season for Julio Lugo. The Boston Red Sox lead it 1-0. A leadoff job by the shortstop for the Sox.
A cutter that didn't quite cut enough. Lugo knows he's going to get a fastball in that situation, and he made a deposit.
Doug comes right back against Dustin Pedroia. And if you're a college baseball fan, you certainly are aware of Dustin Pedroia, the Red Sox #2 pick in 2004 out of Arizona State. This one popped up high above Orlando Hudson, who in Toronto knew what it was all about to play head-to-head with the Red Sox. He puts it away. There are baseball players, and then there are rock stars. This man's a bit of a rock star, isn't he?
He is. He's infectious. Yeah, you can tell by the sound of the crowd. Big Papi is infectious. He loves to play the game. You can see the joy on his face when his team does well, when he hits one over the fence. He has a lot of fun playing this game. There's a Big Papi for you right there.
That's a Big Papa, and he was with his son looking at Big Papi. Lefty on lefty, curveball, good pitch. So important, Matt, as you talked about.
He's using it more effectively early in the count too. That's not his best, but it's just a get me over curveball for strike 1.
One and one the count. 11 home runs, 42 RBIs this year. Hitting .332. His on base is .444. Which tells you he is plenty patient enough. He's not going to swing out of the zone. Inside and When you go to look for a job, you show them your resume. How about this resume?
That's pretty good.
I think you could get a job with that resume.
Just about anywhere you want. In fact, they'll be beating your door down with those kind of numbers right there.
And that, of course, after being cut loose by the Minnesota Twins. Curveball bounces in there. 3-1 the count. We talked about Davis, and you know, after throwing all those curveballs so effectively at the New York Mets, he said after the game, I guess I'm a thumber now. And I thought, I don't know about that title. You're not a thumber at all if you throw a cutter that can break bats and can command a curveball. And he loses Ortiz. I heard that soundbite as selling yourself a little bit short as a pitcher, honestly.
Well, I would think so. You know, I think he's saying that in jest. But, you know, being able to throw a curveball for a strike when you want to, especially if you're behind an account, you know, if you got a good hitter's count and you're able to drop that curveball in there, it gets you back into the count, gets you an opportunity to either go away with the fastball or throw that cutter in.
And certainly another rock star.
In his own mind.
Yeah, but more on the Frank Zappa category. Manny Ramirez, and he takes low. Now, Doug Davis is not going to be effective in this ball game if he doesn't start attacking the strike zone more.
He has to. It's imperative that he does. You know, you'll see in this series against the Red Sox, they get a pitch to hit, they are hacking. There is no taking pitches here.
Cut fastball, 1-1 the count. Now, you might be thinking, well, nerves. Well, for Doug, that really shouldn't be occurring. This is big league start number 189. He's pitched at Fenway. He's pitched at Yankee Stadium. He's pitched against the great offenses. He's been around long enough where nerves shouldn't get the best of him, and I don't think they are. And I guess there's different types of nervous, though. I mean, Matty, did you ever find yourself nervous? And I don't mean nervous scared, but having that nervous energy when you went out there to play?
When you get in a situation like this in a playoff atmosphere like we're feeling right here, this is different. All right, let's be honest. This is a different atmosphere tonight than it has been in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And it's because it's the Boston Red Sox and it's all the best team in baseball, all of those things. Everybody's going to be nervous. What it is, it's adrenaline. And that adrenaline starts pumping.
Curveball, killed. Deep left field. Foul. He left that one up right over the plate.
That adrenaline starts pumping. It doesn't mean that you're nervous. It just means you're excited. Sometimes you have to try to control that adrenaline a little bit.
I'll theorize to you as a pitcher, that'll leave you hanging pitches, that adrenaline.
It will. Try to throw it too hard. Try to make the perfect pitch. It hangs. You know what that is, though? That's strike two.
Yes. He's got options. He can't throw that changeup away. Cutter in. The thing that Manny Ramirez does to me so well, and you can speak to this better than anybody, is keep that bat in the strike zone as long as anyone.
And it's by design. And over the course of the game, we're going to talk about this a little bit because he is by far the best right-handed hitter that I've seen do that. Keep that bat in the strike zone, and he works on it daily. I'll take you through as we get through this game, his regimen every day, what he does to prepare for every game. It's pretty remarkable.
I know you talked with Dustin Pedroia before the game. As you can see, that's a Hall of Fame resume, by the way. Pedroia said he's funny and he has the funny hair, and he put his grill on eBay as he waves at that breaking ball. And he goes down on strikes. But he said exactly what you said. No one prepares like anyone I've ever seen. That's quote Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, it's amazing what he does, and it's unorthodox at times, but he has a definite plan when he walks to the plate, and he has a definite plan when he shows up to the ballpark, what he wants to accomplish that day.
Well, you don't mind that curveball, do you?
No, it's a good one. You know, the get me over curveball is great for a strike. That one is a strikeout pitch.
J.D. Drew with his brother looking in from short as these two go head-to-head in the big leagues. Steven at short, J.D. in the batter's box. And that one misses outside. 2-0 the count. This is a hitter right now you want to attack because he is a hitter spiraling. 5 for his last 39. hitting just 128 in the last 2 weeks.
You talk about Manny and Big Papi. The guy standing on deck has more RBIs than either one of them.
Yeah, that's Mike Lowell having a big season. Cutter, 2-1 the count. He is the example of what happens when you pitch around those two, correct?
Well, you know what? He's been a great RBI guy his whole career, but he's been put in a situation where he's going to get a lot of opportunities, and he's taken advantage of it.
2-1 the count. Curveball, a good one. Little topper. Davis says, I've got it. Little shovel pass. He gives up the one. A home run to, of all people, not Big Papi, not Manram, Julio Lugo. This crowd already turned up several notches on the dial. 1-0 the score. And for the Diamondbacks, let's see how they stack up against Josh Beckett. At the top of the order, Eric Burns. He's hitting 14 in a row. Lineup brought to you by Jeep. Chris Young, Orlando Hudson, Connor Jackson. Stephen Drew, Scott Harrison in there tonight. Not Mark Reynolds, but Alberto Callaspo at third. Chris Snyder catches. And Doug Davis is on the mound. Josh Beckett is 8-0 in his 10 starts. There's really not a number you can argue with, Matty, when you look at Josh Beckett.
Not at all. And he's doing it all. He is the epitome of come right after you pitching. Good fastball, high riding fastball, gets a lot of swings out of the strike zone. Of course, a very good curveball and a changeup to go with it, but he is aggressive. Within the strike zone, he's going to pound it, and here it is, try to hit it.
So Eric Burns tries to turn it up right away. First fastball of the game, folks. Welcome to Chase Field. 96 miles an hour.
Well, Burnsy's got an idea that he's probably not going to get a curveball first pitch. He was trying to get the D-backs back in this one and tie the score with that first swing. A little bit out of the strike zone, though.
Beckett has really dropped the ERA from a season ago, a 5.01 ERA. And that one runs in last year. But he won 16 games. He gets a boatload of run support, as you can imagine.
It's got to be fun taking the mound with that kind of offense every single day.
8.5 runs a game he has gotten this year. Ouch. Burnsy goes down in a pile. That had a little bit of run in on it. So he'll 4-2 seam it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's by design. He just rears back and throws it. Ball does come into the right-handed hitter just a touch, but it's not, it's not a true sinker. He doesn't try to sink the ball. It may run a little bit in on the right-hander, but it's not going to sink much.
Well, if you think about it mechanically, if you throw as hard as he does, even opening up that shoulder just a touch, where you're aiming a little bit outside, the arm drags behind, that's where you get a little natural run.
And I don't think he was trying to come in there. Veritek set up a way. He's trying to hit the outside corner, opened up a little bit and left it in.
So even if it wasn't by design a very effective pitch, by nature, Beckett around the wide of the plate, even off the plate a bit, can be incredibly effectively wild with stuff like that. And there's that hard breaking ball away. 2-2 the count. Joshua Patrick Beckett is 27 years old, out of Spring, Texas. Of course, he began his career in the big leagues with the Florida Marlins. And injuries have really been his biggest enemy until last season. That one is low. And a bit of a milestone for a guy who's known for his stuff, known for the ability to dominate, strike out 15 or more on any given night. But last year, I think he will tell you his biggest milestone. He threw 204 innings. The first time in his career he went over 200 innings.
Yeah, we talk about that with Randy Johnson a little bit, about pitching more to contact. Going to catch up with you after a while. Striking everybody out will catch up to you. Those innings eaters are valuable to your team. Pitch a little bit more to contact, let them put the ball in play a little bit more.
The team captain couldn't get to that one. First ever time for these Boston Red Sox in a regular season game here in Phoenix, Arizona. We mentioned that series, young ladies, back in 2002. And that would have been pre-Big Papi when the Diamondbacks came to town and took 3 in a row as the defending world champs. Got him with a fastball. Defense that time unused. Let's take a look at that defense working behind Josh Beckett. A few more ground ball outs than fly ball outs. And by the way, David Ortiz is at first. First time we pointed that out. First defensive start this season. Pedroia, Lugo, Lowell, Ramirez, Crisp, and Drew. Jason Varitek, solid backstop behind home plate. He's got a glove on his hand.
He's not used to that.
No.
He's used to putting that big 35-inch, 35-ounce bat in his hand, and that's it.
Chris Young slams the bat down as he pops it to third. There are 2 outs. Terry Francona was talking before the game about Big Papi at first base, and he was very frank. He said, you know what, I do worry. I worry that something will happen, and I don't want him to be embarrassed out there. He said, interleague play, it's not fair for guys like David, but if he wants to play, he has to play with a glove in his hand. And with regard to the rotation, Kevin Youkilis, who is having a fabulous year, looking on. Ortiz will play first tomorrow. Youkilis will play third base. And then Youkilis first on Sunday. Lowell back at third base. So 2-2-2. They all get 2 games.
And you never know. That may be something that plays a role in this series. You got guys playing out of position. If the Diamondbacks do get in a situation where they're given a break, they must take advantage of it if they're going to have a chance to beat this club. Lowell is where he's supposed to be. But Youkilis tomorrow at third, he's going to be out of position, and of course Big Papi is going to be out of position too.
Well, those riding fastballs a mile high. D-backs baseball on FSN Arizona is presented by 1408, based on a terrifying story by Stephen King. In theaters everywhere Friday, June 22nd. By Nissan and your Valley Nissan dealers. And by Mark Taylor Luxury Apartments. Feel the love this summer. Get an iPod when you sign your lease. Visit mark-taylor.com today. We continue. Diamondbacks and Boston Red Sox. Mike Lowell. Ed Williams was, as a third baseman sitting to my left, talking about this third baseman and how he has taken advantage of high on base percentages by guys like David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez.
Indeed.
Matty, it's one thing to have him out there. It's another thing to drive him in.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this, and you talk about Big Papi. It doesn't necessarily pertain to Manny Ramirez, but it does to Mike Lowell. The ballpark that they play in is perfectly suited for Mike Lowell. He is a doubles king, hits the ball down the left field line, and he can bang it off that wall, that big green monster, all day long. He's not going to hit a whole lot of balls to right center field and drive those balls. He's going to pull the ball to left field. And he's taken great advantage of it with all those guys out there on base. Granted, they have to play on the road too, but at home, he has really taken advantage of that home field advantage, if you will.
3-1 the count, 1-0 the score, as you can see. Davis has fallen behind consistently, and he walks Mike Lowell. And the defense, let's take a look at the boys working behind Doug Davis. It's brought to you by Rico. Hairston, Young, and Burns. Hairston in left. Callaspo plays third. Drew, Hudson, Jackson, and Snyder. And on the mound, Doug Davis. So Mark Reynolds, who has struggled with the bat a bit, there's no doubt about it, watches tonight. Cropped that hair tight. I mean, he took it all off the top. I asked him, why so short? He said, that's what 0 for 5 will do for you. That's an 0 for 5 haircut.
It's amazing. A grudge cut.
Oh, I like that. I've never heard that.
It is. Yeah, baseball players aren't superstitious, are they?
Yeah, that young man down there watching tonight is very superstitious when you talk about Mark Reynolds. Already we know that.
Yeah. You know, he's just fallen into a little bit of a trap. Started hitting balls out of the ballpark, and it's easy to say, well, I can hit this one out of the ballpark too. They will come in bunches, especially for a young, powerful hitter such as Reynolds. They'll come in bunches, but he's got to get his hits in between those home runs to be productive and get in that lineup every day.
272 for Jason Varitek, the pride of Georgia Tech University. A little topper. Davis tips it. Charging Stephen Drew. The throw in time. Good looking play by Stephen Drew. Davis with some bad luck. Many balls trickle by Double D because he follows through. He tipped this one, and Drew had to pick him up.
It's a nice play. Good adjustment on the run. He's going to the bag, expecting the ball to get over Double D's head. Had to change direction and throw on the run. A little bit of a benefit that the catcher's running, but a nice play.
So now Coco Crisp with Josh Beckett waiting on deck. Who, by the way, don't assume just because he's an American League pitcher he can't hit it all. He can hit a little bit, and that one is low. The one guy who isn't hitting too much of late is this man. 0 for his last 11, 4 for his last 32.
Well, in a lineup like this, you can afford to have a guy not hit, especially if this guy's patrolling center field for you. He's paid to catch it right now. What he does offensively is a bonus. He needs to cut those balls off in the gap and catch and take away extra bases, and he'll stay in the lineup by doing that.
Davis has already thrown 31 pitches with 1 out here in the second inning. Only 13 of them have been strikes. One and one to count. Again, that fastball away, such an important pitch. You know, when you ask many about Davis, they say it's his best pitch, when you would think his cutter is.
Well, his cutter is, the way he puts it, everybody knows I have a cutter, and they're looking for it. So the fastball away is something off his cutter. They have to be aware of that pitch right there. That's the cut fastball. It didn't get in where he wanted it to, but they have to be aware of the cutter. So that, you know, if you're a right-handed hitter, you've got to cheat just a little bit to get to it if you want to keep it fair or hit it with any authority. And the fastball away is his, you know, his bread and butter pitch that he should be able to throw, that that he wants to throw for a strike anytime he can.
He's got some options here, 1 and 2. Lowell out there at second base. And now the two of these guys can't get together. Davis and Snyder last few starts have been the duo. And they've really been on the same page. For a while there, Davis and Montero weren't seeing eye to eye, and it slowed down the pace of the game. And pace is a big thing for Doug. You don't want to call him fragile. That's not a complimentary term, but Doug is a touch and feel pitcher.
Yeah, gets into a good rhythm, which we've seen his last couple times out. He gets into that good rhythm, and he throws more strikes. The game moves along. Consequently, the guys behind him make good plays behind him because the pace of the game is moving along quickly. They're on their toes, and they're ready for a ball to be hit.
2-2 the count. There's that good cut fastball. That's the one we're talking about. Right in on his knuckles. And Orlando Hudson puts that one away. Beckett is next, but first we remind you, International Fight League rocks the ring on FSN with the toughest fighters in mixed martial arts only team fighting competition. This week we take a look at some of the sport's rising stars. The International Fight League tonight at 11, only on FSN Arizona. So Josh Beckett, while playing for the Red Sox last year, was 3 for 7 with the bat in his hand, and he homered in interleague play.
Remember, he started as a national leaguer and having to wield that bat every time he went out.
And 149, not so bad. It might not come up here, but I have a rule that I apply for pitchers, whether they will help you, not whether they're good pitchers that hit. You know, there is like the Levon Hernandez, curveball is high, but just whether they can help you, period. And it's a silly rule. You've got to be able to bunt. There's no doubt about it. But for my money, if you strike out less than half the time as a pitcher, you're going to help your team at some point along the way. If you strike out more than half the time, you're not really helping much at all. I mean, put it in play is what I'm saying.
Exactly. If you can put the ball in play, you give your team a chance to either turn you over and get back to the top of the order with guys out there. The unfortunate part about putting the ball in play oftentimes for a pitcher is They're not used to being out there. They don't run as well. There are some double play possibilities there, but you're right. Put the ball in play. You can help your team.
2-1 the count. 2-2. He was trying to put it in the bleachers, not put it in play. Case in point, Josh Beckett in his career 194 at bats. He's a 149 hitter. He struck out 73 times. He puts it in play sometimes. Interleague, you really don't apply. It's more applicable to National League pitchers. On 2-2. Curveball, ground ball. Tyaspo across the diamond. Davis has really had to work hard. Let's hope he can settle it down. Connor Jackson, Stephen Drew, 2 up. Everything's bigger on Friday nights on FSN Arizona, including this game being presented in FSN HD high definition. 1-0 the score. The Boston Red Sox lead it back at a packed-out Chase Field. And we also have another treat tonight. Hitting coach Kevin Seitzer, who is never, ever at a loss for words. Look at that, Matty. He is mic'd up.
I tell you what.
He will be listening in throughout the evening, folks.
He is on that top step. Every time that the Diamondbacks are back in the dugout to hit, he is on that top step watching every pitch of every at-bat. He just loves to hit.
He loves to hit, loves to talk hitting. Now when the Diamondbacks go out defensively, Kevin Seitzer is available in a couple of places. He'll stop by the cage if someone's doing a little bit of quick work while their team is sitting and hitting. And then also he will go in and have a chance to watch some video if other guys come in and need some help.
He'll go analyze every at-bat of the previous half inning and put that in the memory bank in that computer in case one of the guys comes back and asks him a question. He can go to it right away. Well, here's why you had success, or this is why you didn't.
Connor Jackson, hot shot, Lugo to his left. In time for the out. Connor has been red hot. In his last 11 games, he has 17 hits, hitting .395. And so I ask you, why is he exploding more offensively?
He is bringing the trajectory of his ball flight down.
Okay.
So what that means is, you know, Connor's not one of those guys who, if he misses a ball, it still goes out of the ballpark. If he misses a pitch and pops it up a little bit, it gets caught. What he's done is he brought that down. Now, if Connor Jackson has a year that Connor should have, he'll hit 50 doubles. He's bringing that down. He's getting balls in the gaps. Granted, he hit a homer last night, but the trajectory is coming down a little bit, and it's allowing him to, allowing those balls to fall in the outfield and get in the gaps.
Curveball, not quite sure where it missed. 2-0 the count. Pretty good pitch to Stephen Drew. This time, Big Brother looks in from right field while Baby Bro hits. And that fastball at 97 miles an hour into the catcher's mitt it goes.
Well, Baby Brother liked to chase Big Brother in the corner down there. Have it rattle around for about 20 minutes and end up on third base.
And according to my calls, the corner is huge out there.
It's huge.
It can go anywhere out there to right field, and it's the corner. Late on that one. A couple of Georgia boys going head-to-head. And a couple of guys that were both first rounders, as you can see, and that's the number of pick overall in the draft. And the one thing for JD has just been trying to play healthy throughout his career, much like Josh Beckett. I mean, two great talents that are still really coming into their prime that just want to stay healthy. That's the bottom line.
Which makes you marvel at somebody like Cal Ripken. It's unbelievable. There are so many things on a baseball field and playing every day that can happen to you that get you out of the lineup. Not to mention serious injury. But it makes you marvel at somebody that can play every single game.
Curveball, he goes down on strikes. Let's listen to Kevin Seitzer. Connor Jackson hit that last one hard. What did his hitting coach have to say?
Good swing. Way at the ball. That a kid. Hut, Steven.
Sometimes it's simple and it's encouraging.
Yeah, you're measured oftentimes in this game by results. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He got the pitch he wanted. He hit it squared it up on the bat, hit it hard. Lugo had to make a great play to get him at first base, and all Kevin is telling him, stay right there. Keep doing that. You're going to get a whole bunch of base hits.
0-1 the count, 2 outs, 1-0 the score. Glad to have you with us tonight. Todd Walsh, Matt Williams, and Darin Sutton. That curveball nails the inside corner. I have a good buddy of mine want to say hello to. JW is looking in. An Arizona boy who's a big Red Sox fan and is confused about who to root for. There's a few of those folks in the ballpark like that tonight.
There's a lot of folks in the ballpark. That's what's important.
That is the most important thing. And the breaking ball misses away. When I went for my Euro today, you know, I like to go have a Euro in the daytime sometimes. A gentleman came in, a big solid B on his T-shirt. You know who he was rooting for. I said, you excited for the game tonight? I just struck it up. My daughter actually said, do you know that guy? No. He said, I'm rooting for both teams. And a good fastball. He said, I'm from Boston, but I love the Diamondbacks. I'm just going to have fun.
Todd Walsh back here at Chase Field, a conflicted fan. Not quite sure who to root for here tonight, but as Matt Williams said moments ago, people are here in mass. Red Sox Nation has certainly taken over the ballpark, especially the pool. Now, this is an interesting story here. You saw the sign on D-Backs Live. The Red Sox are here, and it's part of Red Sox destinations where fans go to different ballparks all over the country, and this is really cool. I am here. Your name, sir?
Rod.
And Rod, where are you from?
I'm actually from here.
You're from here?
From here, yes.
What are you doing here in the Red Sox garb?
I was actually motivated into coming to this game from my wife, who is a Bostonian.
You married a Red Sox fan?
I did. I married a Red Sox fan, yeah.
Let me see. Renee, how did you finagle this?
It wasn't hard. I just twisted his arm, you know.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to let you know, when the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox play in the World Series this year, for Game 3, all the Diamondbacks fans are going to go to Fenway, and they're going to invade your pool, okay?
We don't have a pool there.
You don't have a pool at Fenway?
Hell no.
Huh. I'm sorry. Well, enjoy yourself, okay?
Yes.
All right. They're happily married. Give her a kiss for the fellas. Okay, there you go, guys. There's no pool at Fenway. I thought there was a pool at Fenway Park. You guys have everything.
Puddles.
Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Puddles.
No pool. Puddles, yes, there are puddles.
That's great.
Ghost Rider. Where have you been all my life? Yes, we're off. We've got to go. Okay. Commence to the party.
No, you're not off yet. Tell us all your secrets. 3-1 the count. A moment ago during that conversation. And then Davis missed badly a couple of times, which makes me want to immediately step it back a bit. He threw behind Lugo. Lugo didn't like it. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that.
I don't know that it was intentional.
I don't know if it was either. Yeah, I saw Davis say, "Hey, sorry, it got away." But usually, if there's intent there, the pitcher's not going to say anything.
No, just turn around and walk away.
Does it send a message? Maybe. Intentional or not.
But then the message to me gets a tad bit watered down when you can't get it back over the plate at all.
Yeah. Purpose pitch is for that purpose, but if you end up walking him, it doesn't do you any good.
And the other reason is that Doug has just really had one of those Doug Davis struggles that we saw early in this Diamondback season. And he's talking to himself a lot, where he couldn't find the strike zone. He didn't have the command. Nothing like the Doug we've seen in the last 3 starts.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he loses it and can't find it for a couple of innings. You know, he may get out of this inning and all of a sudden find it again. But the problem is, you know, he now sits at 46 pitches. How deep can he go here?
Lifted left field. Recovering, diving, and making the play out there is Scott Hairston. That's when one teammate will look at the other on the bench, and they'll mean it in love, and they'll say he's got him popping up.
Yeah. You know what's so impressive, and something that I've noticed about this young Diamondback team, is that, yeah, you look at Scotty Hairston right there. He is not a left fielder. He plays the outfield because he's asked to do so. But athleticism will take you to different levels. He can go play left field because he's an athlete. All of these guys on this club are fantastic athletes.
And right now the right fielder is watching. That one is high, 1-0 the count to David Ortiz. Ortiz walked back in the first inning. In his last 8 games, he has 13 hits. Curveball a dandy, 1-1 the count.
Now Big Papi trying to get loose on that one.
High fly ball, well struck left field. Hairston finds his spot. He's got room. Manny Ramirez strides toward the plate. I've never played with him. You have back in '97.
I tell you, we talked about it in his first at bat and his preparation. I saw him for 162 games every day take one of the bat boys down to the cage, and that bat boy would throw him slider after slider after slider after slider after slider. And what that did was allow him to try to create that right center field gap. It's where he tries to hit the ball. You notice a fastball, he'll try to hit that way. He pulled a breaking ball just foul his first time up. But the reason that he is one of the best RBI men in the game is because he's worked at it and worked at it and worked at it on hitting that ball the other way into that right center field gap. That's where a lot of his RBIs come from.
And it's amazing to think about. We learn so much to hear you explain things like that, because that somewhat, for the simple-minded fan like me who doesn't understand hitting, explains why you can keep that bat so long in the strike zone. That drill, that practice right there explains a lot.
And it's by design. This happens well before batting practice. You know, they come out on the field and take batting practice. This happens in the cage with nobody around and nobody watching. He just has an idea of what he wants to accomplish when he steps on this field, and that's to hit the ball to right center field and up the middle, just like he did there.
That illustrates exactly what Matt Williams was explaining. That level swing that seems like it stays level and stays in that zone for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, and he doesn't do it just because he's a great hitter. He's worked very hard at it. And he stays inside this baseball and hits the ball back up the middle. That's why he is such a great RBI guy.
Here's J.D. Drew. So a deep fly to left. And J.D., speaking of deep flies, left center field. Go.
If you want to know why that ball left the ballpark, there it is right there. Up in the strike zone, over the middle of the plate. J.D. Drew's been struggling a little bit, but that's a good ball to hit right there. And you notice, we talked about it early on, that the Red Sox hitters do not let a fastball go if it's hittable. They are aggressive from the first pitch on. And they're letting them fly. And when you get an offense like this, you can do that. When you know that one swing of the bat, you can get back into any game.
Well, there's no one guy who is the man with quotes around it.
That's right.
And that talks about a little bit what we talked about in the open. You look at the stats, you look at the titles, you look at the wins. But part of what makes him so great is that kind of a dirtbag attitude, the devil-may-care attitude. Let's go, boys. Cowboy up, they used to say.
Yeah, you know what? They just let her fly.
Yeah.
We're going to come play, and we're going to give it all we have. Granted, they've got great pitching, they play good defense, and they have a wonderful offense that scores a boatload of runs. But they just let her fly. But you can see the smiles in the dugout.
Now, the one thing, Maddie, and sorry to interrupt you, the one thing that I don't think anybody should overlook, you touched on already. It's great to let her fly. It's great to, quote-unquote, cowboy up, have that swagger, that edge. Big Poppy, your manager, wearing an untucked sweatshirt when he walks around on the field. But they prepare like the Dickens, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, they're all professional players. They know what it takes to get ready to play and what it takes to win. And then, but you know what? They're not up there just flailing away. They're getting their pitch to hit, and when they do get it, they're letting her fly. But they're not up there taking pitches and hoping to walk.
Right.
They're a very aggressive team.
It's not the Fort Worth Thumpers softball team.
No.
It's not that.
That's right.
And I think the media has so much fun with them, and it isn't great that they can. But sometimes, to me, what gets overlooked is the fact that they prepare. Which kind of tells a story as to why this man is the captain. He doesn't have the best numbers. He isn't the greatest defensive player on the team. But he kind of represents what we're talking about, that preparation.
And he represents, the attitude of this club. You'll watch him. He runs everywhere. If he makes an out, if he strikes out right here, he will run back to the dugout. If he wants, if he hits a home run, he sprints around the bases and he gets back in the dugout and lets the next guy get up there. It's, he represents the attitude that this club carries with it. That's why he is the captain.
So the numbers right now, very uninspiring start for Doug Davis. And he has been so good this year. And this is the first in 2 weeks start that is not good. I mean, simply put. And so you hate to say that baseball sometimes a numbers game, the odds just catch up to you. But, when you have a 25-game hitting streak, you're going to go 0 for 4 at some point.
At some point, it's going to come to an end. And, the Diamondback pitching has been so good. The starting pitching has been so exceptional that, this is an aberration, certainly. But it's difficult to, to fall behind 4-0 to this club and have a chance to win. You have to really claw to get back in this game.
3-1 the count. I mean, this is what we're talking about. 15 consecutive starts, quality. 1.79, 7 innings per start. Now, that doesn't excuse Doug Davis because he wouldn't excuse himself, is the bottom line. But baseball is such a trends and numbers game that you just aren't going to do that forever.
Well, does that speak to what wins you games, though? If you can throw some runs up on the board, too, that's great. But that speaks to what wins games. Pitching and defense.
Hung a curveball, and it's lifted foul. And you could say, well, all right, Doug Davis is facing a tough lineup. Some of these lineups along the way maybe have been depleted. The Mets are a good example. But again, Doug would tell you he is not putting his best foot forward tonight.
No, it's not that this lineup's any better than any other lineup. He hasn't been able to command the strike zone. Bottom line. So if that's the case, you're not going to beat anybody. You're going to have trouble regardless of who you're playing because they're all professional hitters. They all know what to do. You can't defend a walk, certainly. And you get it behind hitters 2-0 and 3-1. Every hitter, I don't care if it's Big Poppy or if it's my son Jake, is a better hitter 2-0 and 3-1.
And his son Jake is on deck, getting ready to hit.
He wishes he was on deck.
3-2 fouled off. Speaking of that, day 2 of the draft, one of those days where dreams do come true, and you talk about players that wish they were on deck, that get an opportunity. Josh Burns and his entire crew. The draft didn't end yesterday, folks. Today was day 2. Left-handed pitcher from Agua Fria High School, Sammy Solis, picked in the 18th round, and the Diamondbacks hope to get him in the fold. And some other fun and familiar names, as that one is rocketed foul. That I know you can speak to some of them. Torrey Jacoby is a shortstop here at Notre Dame High School, son of Brooke Jacoby, 40th round pick. Mike Greco, third baseman, and Notre Dame High School, 47th round pick. He's committed to West Point, and a couple of young men out of Brophy Prep that we'll talk about in a second. 3-2, 2 outs. Line left field, base hit, Veritek. So the tough outing continues. But Josh Garcia, first baseman, Matt Newman, center fielder, both out of Brophy Prep, picked today by the Diamondbacks, 46th round, 49th round, respectfully. Your thoughts?
Well, I got a chance to see both those kids play all season. Solid players. Newman's a center fielder, outfielder, pitcher, committed to Arizona State, as well as Garcia. He's a first baseman. They set a school record this year for home runs, mainly because of those two guys and a young second baseman that they have, Ricio Torres, who certainly will be drafted at some next year. But those two guys are players that Josh and the team look at as professionals at some point. So, you know, they're local kids that they got a chance to see a lot of. They respect the way they play, and it's nice to see those kids getting drafted and having a chance at some point to play professional baseball.
Yeah, and it's a respectful courtesy. It's not just a favor. It's a respectful courtesy, because a lot of teams by this point have stopped picking.
Right.
They don't even exercise the pick. Well, this sends a message, as you said.
Sure it does.
Good luck in college. We're watching you.
We're watching you. We expect you to be a professional someday. Now go get them. You make some improvements. Grow a little bit. Certainly these kids are in high school. Grow a little bit. Get some man muscles, and we'll see you in a little while.
The play made by Orlando Hudson. The big blast off the bat of J.D. Drew. All right, time to find some offense. 4-0 the score. Maybe it's up in the air. It's time for the U.S. Airways Get On Base, Get Major League Miles contest. All season long, U.S. Airways will give away 1,000 frequent flyer miles for each D-back that gets on base this inning. If the bases are loaded, the miles they double. Tonight's contestant is Shirley Simpkins from Surprise. Boy, that rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? U.S. Airways, fly with us.
Nice going.
I've been practicing all day for that read. They send me via fax. They fax over the reads, and I sit and I read them and read them and read them.
That was smooth.
Thank you. Thank you, Maddie. I actually read them and weep. Here's Callaspo. Broken bat. Base hit right field, Alberto Callaspo.
Well, it doesn't always have to be pretty, does it?
No, are you kidding me? You watch the first 2 innings? I'll take an ugly hit any day.
That's right. There's a whole bunch of guys out there with gloves on that want to take that hit away from you. Take every one you can get.
Well, here you are now against Josh Beckett, and your MO is simple. Make him throw a few pitches, number one. Number two, just get one back. I mean, you don't want to get silly. It's Josh Beckett, and he's on a roll. And he'd love for you to swing for the fences every time, correct?
Well, here's the mentality. The mentality is that he's got, certainly coming in, he's 8-0. He's got a 4-0 lead here going in the bottom of the third inning. He is going to pound the strike zone. That's his MO anyway. He's going to pound the strike zone. So you're not going to, Chris Snyder's not going to hit a 4-run home run right now.
Right.
They need base runners, but you don't want to take away your aggressiveness. You want to be able to hit the fastball, get a pitch in the middle of the zone to hit, and put a good swing on it. That's how you're going to get back in this game. Get a couple of runners on, somebody pops one, you're back in it. But they're going to have to stay aggressive within that strike zone and try not to get them all back at once.
Well, and just when you think you're really aggressive, he drops one of those in there. 1-2 the count.
Does that remind you of anybody? Yeah, I stood out there at third base and watched Curt Schilling pitch.
There's no doubt. That's a great comparison.
You know, for Schilling, it's the backdoor slider. Even in the count or behind in the count as a pitcher. The ability to throw that breaking ball for a strike.
That's a foul ball. Boy, I thought he was going to send it fair there for a moment. It's Chad Fairchild out there umpiring. His body said fair, but that right arm said foul. Hard to tell there.
He was emphatic with it.
You know, that would have been a one of those hits you're talking about to move an inning along. Extra base hit. 1-2 the count.
You stay aggressive. That's the key. Just stay aggressive within the strike zone. Get a good pitch to hit and hit it hard somewhere.
So let's see if Beckett goes backwards here with a breaking ball. Nope. Big Poppy can't get there. It's into right field. Callaspo takes a big turn. Don't you do it. Back in there. You can't have that, and fortunately, he just got back in there. And now he's called out. Got up to dust himself off and got tagged out. Well, we've got to see this again.
Well, he gets back in there. Doesn't call timeout. Lugo is waiting for him to stand up.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know, you don't see that every day. And it certainly doesn't happen to Alberto every day. But you know what? Those type of mistakes will never, you can never win games with those type of mistakes. Evidently, he must have thought Lugo had thrown the ball back.
Right.
Something.
I mean, it tricked me, to be quite honest with you. You see a guy get in there, you go to make a note in your scorebook, and then that happens. Lugo, that's really the equivalent of the hidden ball trick.
It is. You know, again, thinking ahead, thinking, you know, hey, we may have a chance here. Never called timeout. Lugo knows this. He's looking at the umpire all the way. But you take yourself out of a potential inning here, a potential inning that you can put a crooked number up there and get back in this game.
Two and one the count. Davis bunts it first base side. The big man says, I can do that. And instead of second and third, it's just a second again. It just bears walking through again.
Well, he made an aggressive turn, got back to the bag, but he never called timeout. Usually he's going to call timeout here. He never did. And there's no reason for Lugo to throw that ball back to the pitcher. Might as well wait because time had not been called. And you feel about an inch tall as a player.
You think? Wow. Ground ball, center field. Hustling on around, trying to get in there. And Snyder, the big man, scores the first run. Instead of 4-2, it's 4-1, but they break through. How tall does Callaspo feel now?
Well, you know, when it rains, it pours. Generally, you know, you make an error, and that run comes around to score. You feel
so true.
About an inch tall. You make a mistake on the base paths, same way. But the good thing is that they put together some pretty good at bats in this inning against Beckett. They've stayed aggressive within the strike zone. They're getting a good pitch to hit and putting it in play hard, and they've been able to scratch one across.
And that's what we talked about. Being able to chip away, get one at a time, and they did it. Breaking ball, he buckles. By the way, now for Eric Burns, that is a 15-game hitting streak, and he has now reached in 31 consecutive games, which ties him for fourth on the all-time franchise list with, that'd be Matt Williams.
Oh, really?
31 back in '99 into 2000.
I actually did that?
You bet you did it.
Wow.
Selling yourself a
They
little
must
short
have been,
right now.
I must have had somebody hit. Oh, yeah. Gonzo was hitting behind me. That's why. Pitch around me to get to him. Nah, I don't
Now
think
remember, Orlando Hudson reached 33 consecutive times earlier this year. 1-1 the count. Ground ball out to third. They do chip away. They get a run back. Certainly a base running mistake hurts them, but they found a way to get to Beckham. Top of the fourth inning, the D-backs scratch to get one back. All right, put on your thinking caps. That includes you, Matty.
Already.
Name the 3 Red Sox with back-to-back 40 home run seasons. Of course, in the history of this franchise. Back-to-back 40 home run seasons.
Well, didn't we just see a graphic not too long ago? And a resume for Big Papi. He's won.
I know a lot of times that Gracie and I are sitting in here. You'll be at the ballpark watching and in your different spots. But if you happen to be at home, you know I like to cheat. I mean, so I'm about to look up the answer. I mean, that's.
You know what they say? Well, you are a pitcher.
Oh, see? You got a ding, by the way. You got Big Pop.
But they do say, you know, there's a saying that goes along with that. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
And I'm always trying to cheat.
Back-to-back 40 home run seasons. Well, you got to look at his cohort. I don't know if he did it, but his cohort is Man Ram. Has Man Ram done it?
Grounded out to third. Kai Aspo. Manny Ramirez is the correct answer, number 2.
And then we're going to have to go back some. 40 home runs. Have you cheated enough? Did you get that?
No, you know what? I never. You know, if I were to guess, though, just a straight guess, as Julio Lugo takes a pitch a little bit low, I might guess 69 and 70 Yaz, just off the top of my head.
That'd probably be a pretty good guess.
Yeah. This is what I do, folks. I mean, I was going to look as Burnsy looks up and he makes the play for the out. That's.
Can I tell the folks at home that you looked at your computer?
I look at my computer all night. What are you talking about? See, that's not right.
I'm not buying it, pal.
Oh, boy. You don't think on that popular game show on another network that when they phone a friend that friend doesn't have his computer out or her, they're looking it up as fast as they can?
Of course they are.
What's the question again? Three Red Sox, 40 in a row? Back-to-back seasons? Yes! 2-0 the count.
Nice going.
Well, Pedroia, nice going is what you could say about him a lot. Those fans certainly have enjoyed the rookie who really struggled out of the gates. As that one is high. 182 in April. And then you think, boy, do we pull the plug on this young man? Well, as you mentioned, when you have so many great hitters, you don't have to panic. They didn't. And the man out of ASU then hit .415 in May. And he draws a walk. And when I spoke with him today, he said, I want to share one thing with you. I grew up a San Francisco Giants fan. He was from the Sacramento area. And my favorite player, Matt Williams.
Really?
You bet. And then I think later on he had a chance to rub elbows with you.
Yeah, I had a chance to speak with him today, too. And, you know, he talked about the fact that, you know, they have all of this media attention. And it was a little overwhelming at first. You know, it was tough for him to get adjusted with all that goes on with Red Sox Nation.
That one dives in front of Burnsy.
But he realized that, you know what, he's just got to play. He's going to be out there. I'm sure his manager told him, look, don't worry about your hitting. Play solid second base. Get the ground balls. Turn the double plays, and you're going to hit eventually. And he relaxed a little bit, and you've seen what's happened in May for him. It's great.
Well, and the great part about it is he realizes I'm not a big, strong guy. I'm not a home run hitter. I am who I am. And again, we talk about a team like the Red Sox. They embrace people for who they are, and I mean the players. You know, there's the guy with the long hair and the guy with maybe has a belly, but he can sure rake. And then there's the little guy. We have our little guy as well.
That's right. He does what he does. Plays a great second base. You know, when we talked today, I talked to him about his relationship with Pat Murphy and what Murph taught him to do, what he wanted him to do in taking that next step to professional baseball. And he said, you know what? Murph taught me. He taught me to do the little things. Play good defense. Be a good base runner. Get bunts down if I need to. Move a runner. And those type of things, granted he's hitting .315 in the big leagues, but those type of things, with the way he plays defense, will keep him in this Red Sox lineup. It'll keep him at second base, and he'll be able to work himself out of a slump if he gets in there.
Man, he had a big swing there, 0-2 the count. And you know what? For Dustin Pedroia will endear you to the hearts of all the masses in the Red Sox nation. In your first couple of series against the New York Yankees, hit .412.
Yeah.
He told me today, he said, I was absolutely exhausted after those games. He said they feel like they're 5 hours long, and they are.
They are, and all the hype and all the rivalry that goes with it. There is no rivalry like that one.
Oh, and 2 the count, Manny Ramirez. Singled and scored in the third. He struck out in the first inning. Struck out on a curveball. Let's see what happens here. 0-2. They're going high with the fastball. Got too much of the plate. Not a good 0-2 pitch. And because of it, a run scores. Too much of home plate. And even though it broke his bat, folks, it's Manny Ramirez, and it's 5-1.
Well, that's what he's paid to do. And his approach, we talked about that approach earlier. His approach is back up the middle. He just pulled his hands in there, snapped his bat, but that bat stays in that strike zone so long, he's able to muscle that one to left field for a base hit.
I would imagine Edgar Gonzalez is quickly heating up in the bullpen. You know what you hate about this too, and he is you chipped away and you got one back.
Yeah, the momentum switches to that first base dugout again now.
Now this is the man that did the biggest damage of the night, J.D. Drew. 3-run homer in the third inning. Opted out this winter of his contract and his obligations with the Dodgers. And it took a long time to find him officially a Red Sox. And there's one thing I think probably concerned them since 2000, his first full big league season. He's played in 892 games. That is 103rd in games played in big league baseball. So they wanted to make sure because it was a nice contract. And this was a nice swing in the third.
It was a nice swing on a mistake pitch left middle of the plate. JD's got surprising power. He's not the biggest guy, and that's the biggest part of the ballpark. 413 out there with a nice smooth swing drove it out of here.
2-2 with 2 outs. There's that pitch we've been looking for. A curveball down in the zone, but another run on an 0-2 mistake to Manny Ramirez. Bottom of the fourth inning, 5-1 the score. Name the 3 Red Sox with back-to-back 40 home run seasons. And if you go all the way back to 1969, you begin your run. Yeah, 69-70, Manram and Big Papi. And you notice they all have great nicknames too. Yaz, Manram, Big Papi.
Well, you go back-to-back 40 home run seasons, somebody is going to give you a nickname.
They could call you Knuckles, and it'd be a great nickname.
By the way, what was the nickname that everybody came up with for Mark Reynolds?
Well, the
Sheriff. Has that been decided yet?
The Sheriff.
The Sheriff.
The Sheriff.
And whose suggestion was that?
Well, out of the 1,000, I think it was 1,300 emails we got, that was the most suggested. And then Mark Grace decided that was the one he would bless because he took it over to the governor. And, you know, the governor is kind of the I've been educated on this, the nickname guru.
Yeah.
Greg Schulte, of course, radio voice of the Diamondbacks, and he really gave it the official blessing. I don't like it.
I don't much care for it either.
No, I don't like it. So now that Gracie is gone, it's time for us to diss him for choosing that.
Yeah, it's
not the governor. We never diss the governor. He is royalty, really.
He is.
But
I don't know about that one.
That one is high. 2-2 the count. Well, you have a little time, and hopefully he'll get it at bat. Maybe when he pinch hits or comes into the game at some point. I think I might put you on the spot. So
we'll have to think about this.
Think it through.
There's got to be something better than that.
Because there is no better way for my fantasy camp manager, Matt Williams, to show Mark Grace who's boss than to come up with a better nickname. Breaking ball. Boy, that'll show you up, huh? A pitch like that. Wow.
By the way, did we beat Gracie in the fantasy camp game?
Yes, and I threw hammers just like this.
And who scored the winning run?
I scored the winning run.
You did.
Yes, Mark Grace's team was winless in fantasy camp. Few spots available, by the way. Visit dbacks.com. Find some information there. But I scored the winning run against the winless Mark Grace's Aces. Is that what they were called?
Well,
I signed late as a free agent, so I can't recall the name of our team. What was it again?
It was the Matley Crew.
The Matley Crew.
And we were a crew.
And you know, there's a 10-day contract in the NBA. I signed a 2-day contract in fantasy camp. And really was horrendous, but I came up with a big run.
You know what? You got to touch home plate the last time. Think about it that way. Regardless of how many hits you get. You got a couple of hits. I saw them.
In on the hands. I certainly wasn't facing a guy like that. Stephen Drew, J.D. Drew, Matt Williams will join in a trio, and Matty will analyze a bit.
How many hours do you think that these two spent in the batting cage in the backyard or down the street or wherever that batting cage was?
Many hours in
Do you
Georgia.
think they talk about hitting at all? Because these two swings are identical. It's amazing. They are identical swings. So they had the same teacher, or they've talked many hours and spent many hours in a batting cage together refining their skills. And they're great skills indeed. They're both wonderful hitters.
Well, they both played at Florida State University. David, their father, as that one is rolled to the right side. Big Poppy. He makes it happen. The Drew boys probably look to David more than anyone down in Lowndes County, Georgia, as their hitting coach. Glad to have you back. 5-1 the score. We saw Julio Lugo pull a fast one on Alberto Callaspo earlier in this ball game. Well, we flash it back. Mike Lowell has been involved back in 05. He's the third baseman, top of the 8th inning. And hidden ball trick is on. Luis Torrero, the base runner. Luis, you're out. Todd Jones, by the way, the perfect guy to be the pitcher in the hidden ball trick. I mean, there is no wilier veteran, if that's even a word, than Todd Jones.
Now, you know that if the infielder has that ball, the pitcher cannot be on the dirt. He has to stand off the dirt. Otherwise, you know, even if he tags Luis out there, he's not out because the pitcher is standing on the dirt. They would just call dead ball at that point, and he would be able to remain at third base. But since he was standing off the dirt, he can tag him out there.
Now, were you ever involved in a hidden ball trick?
Yeah, actually, a couple of them. I was the guy with the ball.
No, I figured as much. You wouldn't get tricked on that end.
No, you have to be nice when you do it. Generally, it's a guy sliding into third base, and the play's close, and he calls him safe. And I just asked the guy that slid into third base if he would mind if I swept the bag off because there was dirt on it. And he stepped off the bag. And I told
Are you
him
kidding me?
I was nice, though. I said, excuse me. Would you mind if I... And he stepped off.
1-0 the count, and the pitch is low.
Oddly enough, I was playing with the Cleveland Indians against the Kansas City Royals and Jay Bell. And I pulled the hidden ball trick.
Mike Lowell. Scott Hairston continues, sir.
And was the first hitter in the next inning. It was for the third out. Pulled the hidden ball trick for the third out of the inning, threw the ball back to the mound and trotted into the dugout, put my helmet on, stepped in the box, and took the first ball to the ribs. And Jay has, to this day, will not admit it, but I know he was the one that said, hey, we need to stick one in Matt's ribs here. He won't admit it, but he did.
What is the nickname you guys have for Jay Bell? Nice guy?
He's the good kid.
The good kid. Okay. Now, a good kid wouldn't do that.
Oh, yes, he would.
Oh, he would.
He would.
Okay.
He's the good kid. He was the kid in school that was always the good kid. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Always did his homework. He's the good kid.
But so wait a minute. If he would do that, though, what you're talking about, there was a side to the good kid that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's a fiery side to the good kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I've seen the good kid stand out there and yell at Randy Johnson on the mound. Yep. Depends on the situation, of course.
Talking about Jay Bell, who is in the house today. He'll come out, hit some ground balls, and talk baseball with the guys, and as you will as well. That's an asset to have all of you guys around, and I would imagine you enjoy sitting up here. You enjoy sitting down on the field with your wife Erica on the weekends, but you probably enjoy the teaching part of it too.
Yeah, to be able to stand out there with the uniform on and get back on the grass. That's where we're most comfortable, certainly.
1-2 the count. Edgar hammers the inside corner. Veritek will take a right turn.
Well, it's on the plate. It may be a little up in Veritek's eyes, but that had plenty of plate. Little comebacker.
Five to 1 the score. Coco Crisp popped up. Long run. Sliding, and just to stop himself, really. Stephen Drew was flying, and I think he slid just so he didn't run into the stands. 0-1 the count.
Well, if he slides and makes this catch, he may live through it. If he runs through that, there's nowhere for him to go.
Crisp has been aggressive, as we talked about earlier, scuffling with the bat in his hand right now. Oh, for his last 13. Well, that'll change that. Everybody hits tonight if you're from Boston.
Well, we talked about it. The mentality does not change 0 for 13 or not. It's about getting up there, getting a good pitch to hit and whacking it. We were talking earlier today about somebody that we all know and love so much, Bob Brenly, about talking to him about what a pitcher has. Well, what does he throw you? It doesn't matter. He throws it, and I whack it. And that's the mentality of the Red Sox team. They stand in there. When they throw it, you whack it.
I love that. I heard you guys having that conversation.
Well,
Pitch is high, 1-0.
Isn't that the truth, though?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you started playing this game as a kid, did you ever think about, well, I think he's going to throw me a curveball here? No. You stood in there with your bat, and if it came close and you liked the looks of it, you whacked it. Very simple.
There's no doubt in this game you can bound yourself up with research and discussions and scouting reports. No, it's just like anything else. You prepare so that you can be loose.
That's right. You've got all your work done prior to the game, prior to stepping in that box. And when you get in there, you let her fly. If it looks good, you whack it.
He tried to whack it, but couldn't do so. You know, for Edgar, the story has been an interesting one this year. It's Micah Owings that took his spot in the rotation, and then Randy Johnson was unable to go here a couple of weeks ago. Well, Edgar said, I'll take the baseball. And all he did was go 5 innings on May 25th, which is the last time he pitched, by the way. Didn't walk anyone, gave up a run and struck out 4. He was a part of, by the way, it needs to be pointed out, Edgar was a part of that great 15-game run with a sub-2 ERA that has ended tonight.
Well, if you want to call it a demotion, you call it a demotion, but I don't think it is. I think it's just you've got too many quality arms. But he's handled it very well. Taking his role when he gets a chance to pitch, he's out there getting it done.
Just one runner in the inning. He keeps it right there. 5-1 the score. And we move on to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Josh Beckett, back in 2003, and of course, a huge part. This is Game 6. One of the greatest games in postseason history ever thrown by Beckett. As they absolutely dominated the New York Yankees and shocked the baseball world. He went the distance, and a start many will never forget. And he now pitches for a club that hopes to do the same thing.
Well, they're well on their way, aren't they? Best record in baseball. Got everything working right now.
Breaking ball bounces. 1-0 the count. Scott Hairston. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the visiting Boston Red Sox. A run on 3 hits and no errors for the Diamondbacks. Fastball rising up in the zone. Alberto Callaspo again. Certainly not a difference in this game dramatically, but a play that I would imagine very frustrating. Single Snyder. Now watch. Lugo's got the ball. He's out. And as you mentioned, the remedy for that is just to holler time to the umpire.
Thing they teach you in baseball: always know where the ball's at. Always know where it's at. Keep your eye on the ball. You'll never have that happen to you. And the remedy is you can always call timeout and do whatever you'd like to do. But that was certainly a momentum shift in that inning. They ended up scoring one, but they could have put a crooked number up there.
Well, you had a chance, and I guess what Matt is talking about is how much different does it look. And Doug Davis didn't do his part that next half inning, but 4-2. I mean, it could have been 4-2 at the end of that inning, and that's a different ball game.
It is. It's a momentum shift. You played a couple, and who knows what happens in that inning? Who knows? You got second and third in a base hit, a subsequent base hit. You say, well, what if? But the momentum certainly shifted.
Wow, what a pitch! He just blistered the inside corner. Want to remind you, it's time for SRP's Hits for Kids for every Diamondback that gets a hit in this inning. And hopefully they'll get one. SRP will donate $100 to Teach for America, a charity educating kids in low-income families, and that's a very good thing. SRP delivering more than power. Chris Snyder singled and scored back in the 3rd inning. And he takes heat at 95 over the outside corner, 0-1.
95 on the inside corner to Callaspo, and then that first pitch to Snyder, 95 on the outside corner. Then you come back with an 87-mile-an-hour split. Change-up split. He grips it as a split. It really doesn't often work like that. That one dipped out of the strike zone. That's unhittable.
Well, you can't pitch with Kurt Schilling as your teammate and not throw some variation of that pitch. You know, and why not? They're going up, and it doesn't work that time. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, and why not? That's true. It works. The idea, you know, you're a pitcher. You want to make it look like a strike and have it not be a strike when it gets to the hitter.
The 1-2. Over the inside corner. Domination in the form of 55 pitches through 5. Boston up 4 over the Diamondbacks. Glad to have you with us. Here's what's on tap, presented by our good friends with Miller Lite. Purchase season tickets for the remaining 07 season and lock in your 07 prices for 08. Call 602-462-4600. Offer is good through July 10th, so hustle up. Time's a wasted, and that's a good thing, too. Current season ticket holders can renew and lock in 07 prices for 08 as well. Tickets certainly available for Sunday. And we want to remind all of you for this series and for Sunday's game, Randy Johnson, Daisuke Matsusaka on Sunday.
Pretty good matchup.
You bet. I'll encourage you to try for tomorrow, but you might get turned away. There are very few, if any, left for tomorrow. It helps to know somebody at that point for tomorrow night. And now on that list wouldn't include me. Yeah,
it wouldn't include me either.
The new kid. I've burned my allotted tickets already, just a few, but certainly it's fun to have folks come into this ballpark. And Sunday, do it, folks. Send them off in style, these Diamondbacks, and you hope they bounce back tonight in the next 2 games. As that one is inside. Julio, since homering, has not been allowed to get too comfortable in that batter's box. Davis unintentionally, I think, threw behind him, and he didn't like it. And then that one.
That's a good purpose pitch right there.
That one very good.
Made him move his feet. Let him know that, hey, I'm not afraid to come in there. Started him off with a good breaking ball for strike 1.
A little topper in on the hand. Drew in time for the out. Well, when you can't be home to watch your D-backs on FSN, check them out online, MLB.tv. You can log on to the web and watch every out-of-market D-backs game live. For more info, visit dbacks.com. Baseball's always on. We keep it up here in the booth. They have what they call MLB.tv Mosaic, and it's one of the options I would imagine you can select, where you can watch, let's see, 6 games at one time. And if you're a seam head like I am, that's a dream. Kind of sits over my shoulder, so it doesn't do me any good. And there's a big game out in front of me, but it's nice during breaks to check on, well, just about everything going on. Pedroia reaches out. It's not going to be an easy play, but as the throw trickles off, didn't look like it hit the base runner, or did it? He was inside that box if it did.
No, I don't think so. I think he just hung on to it a little bit, trying to rush himself to make that throw to first base. The closer he gets to Connor Jackson, the closer Pedroia gets to Connor Jackson. That's just a difficult play there. His momentum's going into the runner, and he held on to that one a little too long.
Well, they shift defensively on the infield for David Ortiz. As you can see, for the big pull hitter, singled, walked, flied to left.
So they have all those scouting reports on every hitter that they're going to face. And certainly the tendency for David Ortiz, if it's on the ground, it's going to be pulled hard. Take a look at that alignment again.
Pujols, A-Rod, Ortiz, Manram.
It's getting it done right there.
Changeup misses outside. 2-0 the count. The Diamondbacks, I've just been handed this, are announcing they've just released 1,000 tickets for tomorrow, and that's it then. 602-514-8400, or just head on downtown in daytime tomorrow and pick them up. 1,000 tickets left for tomorrow. 2-1 the count, and you know with swings like that, the ballpark will remain cool.
Well, you know, hear Gracie say it all the time, swing the bat with bad intentions. That's it right there. That's the epitome of it right there. He got himself in a 2-0 count. Got a pitch to hit and swung it with bad intentions. His intention there was to hit the ball to Mesa.
Two and one. Again, the same intention. You talk about the passion and the flair for the dramatic. You would imagine it comes from mom and dad. His dad, Enrique, his mom, Angela. His dad, Leo, sold auto parts. That was his nickname. Enrique called Leo. Got a day off from work to watch one of his first Little League games for his son. His son homered in his first at bat, Big Papi. His dad interrupted his home run trot with a bear hug and carried him home. 2-2, Bolt down the line, fair ball. No dad to interrupt this trot now. Into second base with the double. But you know that Leo's proud. Now that one trickles away, and what can you say about that? What can you say about that?
Well, there's not much you can say. Well, Eric Burns plays it good off the corner here and makes a throw to the infield. It just gets by Connor Jackson, and there's nobody there. And Gonzalez is backing up the plate at home plate. There's nobody in the middle of the infield to back up that throw.
Effort A, execution F. Error on Eric Burns. Ortiz has a couple of hits tonight. And it's just something obvious, folks, what I'm about to say, but it applies. You can't give an inch to teams like this.
No.
You can't. They can't walk them extra times, maybe once or twice in a game. You can't kick it around. You can't get picked off the bag when you're in scoring position. You can't do it.
And it happens to every team.
There's no doubt.
This Red Sox team went to the West Coast and did not play well. But, you know, and it happens to every team. But if you're going to have an opportunity to compete with teams like this and to beat them, you're right. Cannot afford to have any type of mistake, mental mistake or physical mistake, and have a chance to win, because they will just simply stomp on you.
And it's got to be a frustrating night. The team wearing white has won 11 of their last 13 games. The team wearing gray has won 7 of their last 13 games. So the home team, certainly the much hotter team. They've been outclassed and really out-defensed, and the little things have been executed by the Red Sox as well. High and inside. Now they'll come out to check on Manny. Now they're warning Gonzalez. Or they're trying. Bob Melvin wants to find out if he went around there. I didn't see a warning, though. He did not go around. Got his wrist. Listen now. That's why Gonzalez was reacting. He was saying, hey, it hit the knob of his bat. This is in play. I'm going to get it.
They reacted like the ball, and the ball ended up hitting them. As Manny dropped the bat, the ball ended up hitting the bat again.
Here's J.D. Drew, 6-1 the score. I just saw a reaction there from Gonzalez. I wondered why initially. And again, no intention. He's a pitcher that does pitch inside, but this is what happened when you're a long man in the pen and you get rusty. Bottom line, this is what happens. You just can't execute as much as you'd like to. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say. You know, you don't pitch for a long time, you lose the feel for that mound. You can throw bullpens and side sessions all you want, but there's no substitute for getting in a real game. And he hasn't been out there in a while. The reason he hasn't been out there in a while is because he's the long man, and the pitching has been so good. But
yeah, there's no blame to be offered out. It's just a reason. I mean, a reason that he tries to come inside with authority and he hits the batter. 13 days of rest is the reason. And ironically enough, let's do the math. He was a starter during that 15-game run, and the rest of them were great starts.
Yeah.
When do you pitch?
Yeah, he didn't get an opportunity. You get it in the 7th inning. He's not gonna pitch in that game.
Nope. You have guys for that time. That one is drilled deep right field. Gone. That changeup hung right out over the plate and said hit me, and so J.D. did. (9-1) Red Sox.
Hanging changeup right over the middle. That's a nice swing right there. Short, compact.
One 1-0 the count. Michael Lowell. J.D. Drew, as we mentioned, had 4 RBIs in his previous 12 games, or 39 at bats, and was hitting .128. Mike Lowell lifted to the corner. And the play up against the wall is made by Hairston. 6 RBIs, a career high. Has more RBIs tonight than he had in his previous 2 weeks. 2 home runs in a game ties his career high. All in front of his little brother.
Well, like anything, you know, good pitching, hitting is contagious, and it just makes you feel like, you know, they're having a good time in that dugout. It makes you feel like sitting up here watching that they get on guys on base and it's feeding time. You know, it's time for them to eat, because they feel confident when they walk up there. Then it becomes contagious.
And having fun, that's a good thing. And we saw that a moment ago. We mentioned on the road, Shea Stadium, some of that dancing and celebrating going on in the on-deck circle before you get in the dugout. Not appropriate. That's more than appropriate. Do what you want in your dugout. You've earned it. You're not showing anybody up down in there.
Well, it's funny, you know, we spoke about this and alluded to this a little bit. You look at this Boston Red Sox offense, I don't know if I've seen them take a fastball tonight. You know, that fastball's thrown over the plate for a strike, they're swinging at it. That's the aggressiveness of this team.
Slider down and in. Snyder clears himself. Damage done, though. A 3-run home run. J.D. Drew. Our game summary starts with Julio Lugo getting large in the first. J.D. Drew getting large in the third, a 3-run shot. Big Poppy tonight. He's got a couple of hits and an RBI. J.D. another 3-run homer. He's got 6 RBIs, and we know You got to loosen up the guy who's known as being a little bit more tied up. Big Poppy's good at that. Come on, JD. Let's have some fun. Our Sonic game summary. And the Red Sox fans, they know the place to go. You come to Arizona from back east. That's where you take your trips. I mean, why wouldn't you come to the zone? Edgar Gonzalez takes outside. If anyone knows that answer, it's me. This is where you come.
We were talking about it between innings. The psyche of a team.
Yes. Matty Williams, nice job. Matty Williams, his psyche is just fine. Nice job.
Yeah, well, you know.
How's the hand? Everything okay?
That's good. We'll have to get a splint on my little pinky finger tomorrow, probably. But no, I'm good.
Moving?
I'm good.
A little nervous.
I'm good. We're talking about the psyche of a team and how a game like this.
That threw me off a little bit. Sorry.
A game like this can affect that psyche. You know how it doesn't is the Diamondbacks are able to, even if they don't win this game, they're able to score a couple of runs off of Beckett in this game or whoever they bring in. Get a little bit of momentum back looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a tall task. We all know that for them to win this ball game tonight. But to help that psyche, they just got to keep battling. Scratch a couple of runs.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, this is one of those games, a very, very tough pitcher out there, a guy who's 8-0 and a team that lost 3 of 4 in Oakland against a team who has been white hot in the Diamondbacks. All those things, as we've talked about. Burnsy popped it up. Euclid out there. The fans that made the trip. And those locals, little Red Sox fans, they cheer out. Burnsy is erased. Kevin is out there. But, you know, all you have to do to talk about momentum is just look at tomorrow night's pitching matchup. Micah Owings, who is unfazed by all of this. We know that by now, against Julian Tavares, who can be good, but his ERA is 5.33. Good or bad pitching can kill any kind of momentum.
Yeah, it can. You're absolutely right.
So, you know, I agree with you, though. I mean, you can't hang your head and kick your stuff around your locker, and body language says a lot.
That's right. You know, and they've been talking about this, and the questions have been asked, how are you going to handle the Boston Red Sox when they come to town? You know, they're the best team in baseball, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Granted, so far this is a shellacking. But you know what? There's 2 other games to play in this series besides this one. And you've got Micah Owings going tomorrow, and you got the big fella going on Sunday. And you've got him going on Sunday.
Lifted, left field. Manny finds it, and he makes the play for the out. Okay. D-backs baseball in FSN Arizona is presented by Chrysler. See your Arizona Chrysler dealer. And by Pennzoil. Not just oil, Pennzoil. Coco Crisp to lead things off, then Josh Beckett, Julio Lugo. 9-1 the score. Glad to have you with us tonight. Todd Walsh, Matt Williams, Darin Sutton. I've got to admit, I'm a little bit envious of you making that play and getting that opportunity. I've had a few opportunities, but they've been challenging beyond belief. I mean, lose a finger challenging.
Yeah.
Not that yours was easy. But
well, it was hit right at me.
To catch a foul ball is the envy of every fan. You know?
The key, Darin, is to just watch it all the way into your hands. You have to watch it all the way.
I'll get my chance.
And you know, you can't turn and run because you'll never catch it that way. You realize that, right?
I don't turn and run.
Okay.
I don't. I've got a glove up here, big boy. 2-1 the count. Coco crisp. And that one is low.
You'll get another shot. Don't worry about it.
I'm ready. Robbie Hammock takes over in right field. Edgar going back to work. 3-1. 3-2 the count. 3 hits for the Arizona Diamondbacks as they have had to battle the man in the on-deck circle, Josh Beckett. Here in just a moment, we're going to hear from hitting coach Kevin Seitzer, who was kind enough throughout the evening to have a microphone on his every word. As that one is lifted left field. Hairston squares it up, makes the play for the out. Snippets throughout the evening with hitting coach Kevin Seitzer. Here they are.
Change up, BP fastball. His change is like 86 to 89. I think he was trying to save his life. I don't know if he saw it. Come on, Burnsy. Pick us up. He throws the change, but it had some downward action. Pulled off, threw it again.
That was the pitch you and I were talking about, that change that he grips like a split. Downward action.
Downward action, that's what it's all about. Make it look like a strike until it gets to the hitter. That's the effectiveness of that pitch. It's amazing what runs through the head of a hitter or a hitting coach. You know, they analyze every pitch. What was that pitch? They're looking at other people and saying, what was that pitch? Oh, I think that was a changeup. That happens for 3 hours every night in that dugout. You know, he's grinding right now. You can see him, he's grinding. How do we scratch some runs across? How do we get back into this game? He is the epitome of a thinker and analyzes just about every pitch that's made during the course of a game.
Since he left the game of baseball in the late 90s, Kevin Seitzer ran a hitting school with Mike McFarland, a very successful one in Kansas City at that. I mean, very successful. At a baseball school as well. And I talked about this a little bit in the spring and a few times on the air, but I think it's to the benefit of a first-time big league hitting coach that he simplifies everything. Because he's been teaching amateurs, if you will, for so very long. He knows hitting. We knew that from the beginning. But he teaches at a simple level, and I think for big leaguers that helps.
It does. Really you don't get in your own way. You know that all these guys that play on this field tonight that hit can hit, or they wouldn't be here. The problem is they're all very good players and they've all had success. Sometimes they get in their own way. And to simplify it just takes your mind out of it. I had a coach tell me one time, you know, that it's a very simple game. It's the human element that makes it complex. Otherwise, in other words, you think too much. He had a chance for 6 weeks in spring training to get to know these guys. That's not very long. So to simplify this and to try to break everything down and change people, he didn't do that. He said, you know what, you're here, you can hit, let's refine your skills. And, you know, we've seen it in the last couple of weeks that this offense has started to take off a little bit.
Into center field, C.Y. makes the play off to his left. 1, 2, 3 go the Red Sox. It's 9-1.
9-1, bottom 7. I'm Todd Walsh. Welcome back to Chase Field. And there you see Curt Schilling. And guys, it's time for our Geico quote of the game. You knew it had to come from Curt since he's in the house. This is from yesterday. He said, I shook off Varitek, and now I'll have to deal with what if the rest of my life. He's talking about with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th yesterday in Oakland, an out away from his first career no-hitter. Varitek wanted a slider. Curt said, no, I'm going to come with a fastball. Shannon Stewart thought the same thing, and there it goes into right field. The no-hitters lost. It was a 1-0 game. The winning run was at the plate. He recovered and got the final out. There it is, your Geico quote of the day. Schilling stopping a 4-game losing streak. That's what your ace is supposed to do. This one's in the gap, Darin.
Yeah, into the gap. And Hudson hustling on around a double. You know, for Curt Schilling, I would imagine he beat himself up in the what-ifs, but And the main reason is he might not ever be there again because of his age, but I know you had a chance to bump into him, as did Matt Williams as well. It's today, and it's a new day now for Schill, correct?
Yep, and he can deal with that. He's a grown man, and I think back to that. We had it on the Diamondbacks side of the pregame show. Matt Williams, that game in San Diego in 0-1, one out in the 8th inning. 1-run game again. Ben Davis lays down what I guess was a bunt, but he got on. He had to get on. I know a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, but he had to get on.
Yeah, it wasn't real popular around these parts, but, you know, and Kurt said it himself. The 1-run game was the deal breaker there. You know, he didn't feel sorry about it because it was still a 1-run game. One swing of the bat, he loses that game potentially. So he had to concentrate, get that last out, shut the door right there. In both those situations, both those one-hitters, it was a 1-run game.
I want to ask Todd and you to follow up as Connor Jackson breaks his bat on a tough pitch inside. We go, I wasn't here, I watched from afar, but both of you guys were and you covered this team. We talk about 1 through 5 here, and the last month really of great competition, pushing one another. 1 and 2, as close as you are now to Randy and understanding him. Those two pushed each other like it was nobody's business, didn't they?
I still maintain, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the World Series might have gone another way if Curt Schilling didn't start game 1, because Randy Johnson had all those postseason struggles in his career, and he matched him. Curt was the guy that went out there and just put the bar up there and said, all right, Randy, come get me, and he got him.
Yeah, we talked about it at the pregame show today about if you had to give the ball to one guy, you needed a win, you had one game and you had to give the ball to one guy, who would that be? My response was Curt Schilling, and I think that was the response of Bob Brenly as well, to set the tone. Certainly knowing the psyche of those two guys that year, that if Curt, and he had confidence in Curt to go out there and win game 1. If Curt won game 1, Randy would be ready to win game 2.
Up the ladder, O-Dog, get a run down. And now the play, the ball is dropped, so everybody's safe. Hudson sneaks around and slaps home plate. These are the little things, a mistake on the base path, but then just not hanging your head and allowing yourself to get tagged out. That's how you make sure you don't get embarrassed again tomorrow and you come back and play the game right.
Well, you know what? You look at this play and and you're thinking to yourself, well, he's done. But he continues to play. You know, if he stops there and just concedes that out, Varitek picks up the ball and tags him out. But since he kept going, he's able to score that run. You know, we talk about momentum shift. Now you've got a runner at second base again with the ability to score another one here against Josh Beckett, who's 8-0. Gives you a little bit of confidence.
You know what? And it gives the fans something to cheer about. I mean, there are a lot of Red Sox fans here, and great. I mean, I love the energy. There's a boatload of Diamondbacks fans here as well. It gives them something to really, you know, cheer about, and that's nice. We've been having fun all night. This is a great atmosphere, no matter who you're rooting for. This is why you come to games like this, for the energy. One and one the count, and again, we'll want to remind you, the Diamondbacks handed me this about an inning ago, 1,000 tickets, and who knows if that number's dwindled away, but a couple of innings ago, they had released 1,000 tickets for tomorrow night. A lot of seats available for Sunday's game. 602-514-8400 online, dbacks.com. All the other ways, come to the ballpark. Ground ball to third. And in time for the out. You know, I came into the clubhouse yesterday, and Schilling was working his gym, and I couldn't find it on the monitor. The draft is on every monitor. There was no one at Randy Johnson's locker, so I can't go any further but to speculate. But there was one monitor on that game, Boston, Oakland, and it was the one in front of Randy Johnson's locker. He was in the house, and I can't say that he had it changed, but that speaks to that they pull for one another. They pushed one another. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome, Todd, your story.
It was amazing to be around it, to watch it. Matt, you were there on the field with it, but you just knew the next night the guy was going to try and match him or beat him.
Yeah, I think he had one eye on it. Checking on his old teammate, seeing if he'd get there. D-backs baseball on FSN Arizona is presented by U.S. Airways. Get more than a low fare with U.S. Airways. Come fly with us. And by Corona. Kick back and relax with an ice cold Corona. Relax responsibly. And that's not on the script, by the way. 9-2 the score. You know what? We trust you had a good week. We thank you for hanging out with us tonight, wherever you may be in this great state of ours. We hope you have a big weekend planned. We'd like to ask you to include us in your weekend as well. 0-1 the count to a man who still makes his home in the Valley. He came and attended Arizona State and comes and spends his winters out here in the Phoenix area. Dustin Pedroia. No surprise, Matt Williams. We talk about the grittiness, the gutsiness, the David Eckstein build and all that stuff. He chokes up on the bat. That just falls right into place with everything else.
It sure does. You know, he does the little things. But you know what? The difference between him now and April 15th, he's just comfortable.
Yeah.
He's had a little bit of success. It's not going to go to his head because he knows what he's done, what he had to accomplish to get to this point. Not being the biggest guy, not having the most power. It's not going to go to his head, but he's just a little more comfortable. He's had a little bit of success, and now he's found himself in the big leagues. He knows he can play here. I asked him today, you know, in 2004, did you ever imagine? He said, no way. No way. I never imagined I'd be here right now. But I am, so I better make the best of it.
Yeah, you pull yourself out of awe real quickly.
Yeah.
Because you realize if you stand in awe, the bus will leave and you'll be standing on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's gonna leave and you'll be chasing it. But it's a great situation for him. We talked about that earlier. He doesn't have to necessarily hit 315 to stay in the lineup. He plays on a team that has fantastic offense. He does the little things well, like we talked about. Plays great defense that'll keep him in the lineup. If he hits, great.
Chokes up in the bat, slightly closed stance. And he tried to leave there. Well, fans, Quest wants you to experience the ultimate in Diamondbacks baseball. Enter the Quest Home Field Advantage contest. You can win dugout tickets, go on field for batting practice, and much, much more. Quest brings more D-backs into your life in more ways than ever. Uke, they say, as Kevin Euclid, he of the .341 batting average, digs in. Told you earlier about the three that are rotating for two positions. You have a DH, you have a first baseman, you have a third baseman, but when your DH is Ortiz and you're in a National League city, you got to juggle them around. Euclid obviously coming in, but as far as starting goes, Uke will play third tomorrow and Big Poppy will play first. Euclid will play first on Sunday with Lowell back at third. Inside. Now here's where you know about intention. It's 2-0. He's just trying to throw a strike.
Yeah, we talked about this being a little rusty, all those days off. The Red Sox don't care about that. They're saying, hey, throw the ball over the plate, meat, right? But he is a little bit rusty. If he loses a ball or if he gets off his rhythm, that ball, the way he throws the ball, it's going to be up and into a right-hander.
Three and one the count. Ground ball out to third, and Mark Reynolds, who has come into the ball game, the rookie, makes the play in time for the out. Now let me follow up by that pitch inside with this question. They know the intention. There have been some pitches in. There has been their key player hit in Manny Ramirez. Does there come a point when even if there is no intention, you got to stop hitting our guys? I mean, does there come a point where you draw the line even if there's no intention?
Yes, but is it right now? Probably not.
No,
because
I don't think so.
You want to let a sleeping dog lie here. Yeah, they're fully aware that the Diamondbacks have been playing well. So, and they're shellacking them tonight, and let's let that be. If there's a point, at some point in the series, that you want to do that, you want to let somebody know, you do it. But right now is probably not the time because they're commanding this game, and they look forward to commanding tomorrow's game as well.
And you know what I think really backs up what you're saying is the youth in that home dugout. And I think more than anything, a young team feeds off emotion. And if you switch that emotion, as we talked of earlier, positive, that won't be good for the Red Sox.
No, it won't be. You don't want to give them any advantage if you are the Red Sox. Let them lie.
Ground ball, Connor Jackson. Just not a pretty play at all. He played it back. Not an easy play by any means. But he played that ball back to the grass, really let it play him. Then he fell down, went down. Eric Hinsky pitch hitting, he reaches.
That was a difficult play. It's a do or die play on the corner. He was in between there and elected to go back and play that ball. A good throw has him. But it's really a do or die play. You've got to come get that ball in the corner. The luxury that Connor has at first base is he can simply get in front of it if he can, knock it down where it is, and be able to flip that ball underhand to the pitcher covered.
A career high 6 RBIs for J.D. Drew. And he takes a pitch in. A 3-run homer in the 3rd to left center. And a 3-run homer in the 6th that he pulled.
You know, I've often wondered, if you're a left-handed hitter and you play at Fenway Park, do you become a better hitter?
Because of the wall and the desire to use the whole field?
Yeah, because you can hit that ball off that wall so short out there. I mean, we saw it with Wade Boggs, right? Granted, a great hitter. One of the best probably that ever played. Hitter if you're left-handed by taking that ball the other way and having not necessarily a ball that you have to hit out of the ballpark at 376 feet like you have to do here. That ball bounces off that monster out there, and you don't necessarily have to hit it perfectly to get a base hit or to drive the ball to left field.
Yeah, well, Wade Boggs is the primary example. One of the greatest hitters of all time, really, if you're just talking about pure hitting. Talking about pure hitting, having a night is Drew. Hammock has it bounce around a bit. They're going to send the runner on home, trying to get him 7 RBIs, and they just did. J.D. Drew with the double to go along with his 2 homers, and Drew has 7 RBIs tonight. And his brother's right next to him with a bit of a smile, saying, "Are you kidding me?"
You think JD's talking to him? Hey, that's how you do it, little brother. What a funny game this is. J.D. Drew comes in, feels like he hasn't had a hit in a week. Now he's got a week full of RBIs in one game.
That one misses outside. 1-0 the count. Two boys grew up, the Drew boys, in Lowndes County, Georgia. Their dad, David, worked for the local school board down there. Ground ball, foul ball. J.D. was quoted as saying about his dad, "Dad raised us well. He raised us up in church. He put it into our heads early. It's not always about the money, it's about relationships." And J.D. admitted, "I wasn't a baseball fan growing up. You know, it's South Georgia and it's football. I grew up playing football." He said, "Plus, when you live in the sticks, you don't get cable, and if you don't have cable, you don't get as many baseball games." He said, "I watched football every Sunday." I think both of them picked the right sport. He keeps trying to catch his brother's eye. Mike Lowell. Oh boy, that sums it up.
Memories of the backyard wiffle ball game right there.
Isn't that the truth? And let's not leave out brother Tim, who was also a first-round draft pick, 3 of them. 2-2. Waves at that pitch, down and away. 10-2 the score.
Todd Walsh here at Chase Field with a programming note. Big week of Diamondbacks baseball next week here on FSN Arizona. All starts on Monday with the next installment of the Diamondbacks Insider. And then it's on the road to Yankee Stadium for games 1 and 3 of that series with the New York Yankees, including Thursday breakfast in the Bronx. Of course, when they then hit the road all the way to Baltimore for game 1 of that series with the Baltimore Orioles, the D-backs on FSN Arizona, literally all next week. Can't wait to join you guys on the road at the stadium. Back to you.
Todd, can't wait to have you there. It's going to be a lot of fun, folks, and you hope these Diamondbacks can grab some momentum for the next couple of games, because I don't care what the Yankees' overall record is this year or what they're doing. It's Yankee Stadium. And it's a team trying to put things back together. They haven't closed for business yet this year. As that one nails the outside corner, 0-2. Now, the 7 train takes you to Shea. The 4 train, is that the one that takes you out to the Bronx, to Yankee Stadium?
I believe it is. I could be wrong.
Okay, the 4 train. I'll be riding the 4 train then. Breakfast from the Bronx.
Yeah, if you take the 7 train, you're probably going to be in the wrong spot.
Right. That's exactly right. I'll be out in Flushing, and I'll be walking around the parking lot. It'll be a good time. Good times had by all, though. And if you need auto parts right across the street, you know, you can pick some up. 2-2 the count.
Just in case you need auto parts.
The train's the only way to go. Monday, the team will travel into an off day there. And Mark Grace was able to kind of pick out where we went. Any kind of upper crusty stuff. And that's all well and good. But now it's my time on the off day to pick out where we go.
Well, that's so him, though. You know, you don't get a real feel for New York hanging with him.
No.
Because it's all, you know, tea and crumpets and
horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah, it's not good. It's just not good. I mean, if you're going to go to New York, go to New York, right?
That one in on the hands of Snyder. Well, you know, I'll be bringing folks up to speed on what real people do. You know, Gracie he's going to have a couple of real outings. Nathan's will be in the mix, there's no doubt. And a couple of places, well, we'll just surprise you. There's that pitch that Kevin Seitz was asking about. It's almost a split change, if you will. Pretty interesting stuff there for Josh Beckett. But he's got a long, long way to go. And at the top of that list, Roger Clemens in 1986 did so many amazing things that year, including starting the season 14-0. So trying to move even with Sonny Siebert. Montero, deep left center field, toward the gap it goes, gone. With that home run, Fulton Holmes donates $150 to the Central Arizona Search and Rescue Association. He might not want to hear this because he wants to catch every day at some point, but he's becoming pinch hitter extraordinaire.
Yeah, it's astonishing to me. It's astonishing to me, you know, from the 7th inning on. It's incredible. what he's done.
I mean, he is really having quite a run late in games and as a pinch hitter as well. 4th home run this season. 0-1 the count. We won't divulge everything, but I was a fly on the wall, and I'm going to ask you to share a little bit. In Pittsburgh, you were talking to Miguel Montero, and he's still fighting himself a little bit. He still is seeking that consistency. And again, what you shared that you want to keep between you, please keep it that way. But some of the things that you did tell him that you would share with the folks.
Well, he asked me a question about hitting and about what he should do. And, you know, we talked about him feeling frustrated about his hitting and what was going on. And we all get to that point as players at some point. We get there. At some point, you're going to have some struggle, and you're going to fight yourself a little bit. The key to it, and what I tried to get across to him, was to be himself. What does he do best? And we talked about it for 15 minutes or so, and I asked him, what do you do best? And he said, well, I hit the fastball away best. I hit the ball to the middle of the ballpark to left center field the best. And I said, well, then that's what you need to concentrate on. Don't worry about the other things that you don't do well. Concentrate on the thing that you do well. And there's a prime example. He's got the ability as a left-handed hitter to hit the ball out in left center field. That's his best stroke. His best stroke is going the other way. He'll hit the fastball that way, and like we saw the other night, he'll hit the breaking ball over the fence in right field. He's not going to pull a lot of fastballs over that right field fence unless he's in a good hitting count and he can cheat on that ball a little bit. He's going to hit that ball to left center field just like he did there. That is his strength.
3-2 the count to Robbie Hammond. Broken bat. Gobbled up. And in time for the out again. Here's the swing and what you're talking about, Miguel Montero.
The ability to let that ball get deep, that's his natural stroke. Why change at this level when you've had success through the minor leagues? And he's had great success. At every level he's played, he's hit and hit. You know, he's been the best hitter on the team. Why change now that you've got to the big leagues and try to do something differently? Go with your strength, and that's his strength.
2 outs, 10-3 the score. Chris Young takes a fastball for strike 1. And all this work, and obviously there was so much going on offensively for the Boston Red Sox. Let us not overlook Josh Beckett, who, by the way, is still working. There's that variation of a changeup, 0-2. And he's working here in the bottom of the 8th inning, having thrown 91 pitches. That is sensational.
You know, for a power pitcher, that's the epitome of efficiency right there. You know, because he's going to get a lot of foul balls. He's going to get a lot of swings and misses, and they're not putting the first or second pitch in play oftentimes. That's just being really efficient, and that's the reason he can go deep into this game, even at 10-3. If he was over 100 pitches, he'd certainly be out of there. But because he's been so efficient, he can continue.
1-2 the count. He goes down on strikes. More from Chase. I want to continue the conversation with Matt Williams that he had with Miguel Montero. What does it mean when Matt says, just get one of something?
No, not today.
And welcome back to Diamondbacks Baseball Live on FSN Arizona. Last night, plenty of drama. Tonight, not so much. Brett Steinke, Ken Digger-Phelps. We're going to bring you a great edition of Quest Diamondbacks Live after the game. Huge night for J.D. Drew, huh?
Hey, J.D. Drew couldn't wait to play the Diamondbacks. Last year, 7 home runs, 30 RBIs in 18 games. He hasn't been doing too much in the American League, but now Interleague starts, and he's on a roll tonight.
Gentlemen, we'll be here after the game. Now back up to the booth.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. And Digger! Well done. I had to fire him up. He was very stoic there. Brandon Metters, prior to the game today, was optioned down to AAA. Halen Peguero, who came from the Houston organization, and you see his eye-popping numbers at Tucson. We saw him in spring, and we got to see him quite a bit. He's got a real good slider. And I think the key for him when they set him down, Matty, was don't lean on that slider too much because he throws in the 90s as well. And so see why Chris Young went to pick up a few bits of garbage, and a few more bits fell down. So let's play on. First pitch 93 miles an hour from the right-hander.
Well, you are right. You have to throw all your pitches, certainly. Big league hitters will find those tendencies very quickly. If he's leaning too much on the slider, then they're going to look for it.
And he comes to the big leagues and throws 2 fastballs in the 90s. Last year, Double-A, .07, or I should say .70 ERA. And then one of 3.5. That's a slider that never slid. ERA of 3.5 in Triple-A for the right-hander, who is 26 years old, out of Azua in the Dominican Republic. 2-1 the count. High pop. And into the seats it goes. Folks, I haven't not delivered on my promise yet. I will deliver and ask Matt the question. But we have some tricks up our sleeves here over the next minute we want to share with you. 10-3, Boston leading Arizona. But basically those 2 pitches for Peguero are the pitches he leans on. There's the slider, and it's rolled foul off the bat of Jason Varitek. Tomorrow night, about 1,000 tickets left for Micah Owings, Julian Taveras. 6:40. Sunday, get your tickets. There are some left. Randy Johnson, Daisuke Matsusaka. Well, there's that slider. No wonder he leans on that pitch.
That's a good one.
Kevin Seitzer has been mic'd all evening long. A moment ago, a conversation with Orlando Hudson.
They thought he was throwing splits on, I can't remember who was up early. I went down and watched it, and on his follow-through, this is what you saw on his follow-through. It was 4 fingers.
I saw a circle that big on the ball going when I was really like, damn.
He threw 2 in a row. Ball just died like a split. And I saw 4-finger follow-through on both pitches. So I knew it was his change. Oh, it was Connor. We thought it was splits that he threw him back to back.
You think he's grinding? I mean, do you think he's watching video? He's talking about the conversation we had.
Yeah.
It has such movement on the ball that it looked like a split, and he said they, you know, when he says they thought he was throwing splits, that was us talking about it, and he said it looked like it, but I saw the 3 fingers. That's awesome stuff.
It is. That's just, you know, that's what happens every game. You know, right now they're talking about what they're going to do tomorrow in an effort to win that game. You know, granted, we've got a tall task ahead of us here, but you know, it's a constant grind with the hitting coach and his hitters. Constant. Keeping them in line, keeping them confident, keeping them ready to go. You're going to face that guy tomorrow. How are we going to beat him?
Fastball away, 2-2 the count. And you got to love technology. When you're bouncing around what a pitch may be and what it has the looks of, you just listen in on what the hitting coach tells you that it is up here. Thank you, Mr. Seitzer.
That's good stuff right there.
And with that being the case, that is one of the hardest downward moving changeups I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's at 88 miles an hour. It's a pretty good changeup. When you can throw a 97 or 98 mile an hour fastball, 10 miles an hour off of it with some downward movement, it's a pretty good changeup.
Peguero, there's a fastball. Steven, brother's watching, so he stays in front of it. And a nice job. Nice job knocking it down. Doug Mirabelli will hit for Josh Beckett with that nasty stuff we were just talking about. How about that outing? 93 pitches.
They commanded the strike zone all night with all of his pitches.
He'll sleep well tonight at the team hotel, no doubt about that, after that effort. No surprise that he saddles up by that man, huh?
Schill's telling him, I only gave up 1 hit.
Mirabelli to right field. Beckett had a reminder for him, though. He told Mr. Schilling, old man, I'm 27. All Red Sox, and this didn't help. Here's tonight's Panasonic Speed of Sport Plasma replay. This is the last play you really, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, want to put up on plasma. Call timeout. Call timeout. When you don't do it, they tag you out. And similar, as we mentioned, to the hidden ball trick, Alberto Callaspo, Julio Lugo involved in that play. Joel Pinheiro takes the baseball, and he goes to work, right-hander for the Boston Red Sox. We're going down the list of local products drafted in today's day 2 of the MLB amateur draft. And there was one very notable exception as we got into some action and were unable to complete the list. How about Andrew Allen, 43rd round pick, a first baseman out of Desert Vista High School, the son of Rod Allen, former Detroit Tiger, Diamondbacks announcer, and now Detroit Tigers color analyst, and recently Emmy Award-winning color analyst. And so congratulations to Andrew Allen.
It's nice to see. I've seen Andrew play. He's a good player. Big kid, a little bit of power. Makes these young players feel really good about their futures in this game, more confident in themselves to go to the college level potentially and participate and know that, you know what, I'm seen as a professional player at some point. It's nice to see.
Initially, when Pinheiro was signed, they thought he might work as a closer. Mark Reynolds hitting .333, didn't get the start tonight. And basically, his manager, Bob Melvin, wanted him to clear his head a bit. He's been scuffling, fighting himself, as we talked about earlier. Went into the barber and said, take it off. Which guard do you want in the clipper? No guard. Just cut the hair off.
I know. I resemble that remark.
Hustling down the line as he raced. I asked him why so short. He said, 0 for 5. That's why so short. Big offensive night for these Boston Red Sox. Well, the biggest guy I guess you'd have to talk about in this 10-3 win certainly is J.D. Drew. 7 RBIs, couple of homers, a double. He's our Gatorade player of the game. Number 7 drives in 7. Here's Connor Jackson. All right, quickly, we're running out of time. You told Miguel Montero, get one. What did that mean?
It's get one something. If you do something positive every game, then you're going to keep yourself in the lineup. You're going to keep your head above water. You will not struggle. What that means is get one hit, get one walk, move one runner over, get an RBI, score a run. And if you really analyze it and really look at it, if that attitude is taken by everybody, all 9 players that are playing, if everybody gets one something, you're going to win a lot of ball games. Once you get your one something, then you get greedy. J.D. Drew got his one something. He relaxed. He's been struggling. He relaxed. You see the results. He got greedy after that. Now, granted, you're not going to hit home runs like that every night.
Right.
But you get that one. We all know as players, if you ever played the game, you get a hit the first time up, you relax because you got your hit. And that's when you see guys have fantastic games. That's when you see guys hit for the cycle.
Right field, Connor Jackson. And it's run down by the man that we were just speaking about, J.D. Drew. And there are 2 outs as we talk about getting one.
Just get that one something. Whatever it is. Get on base for the guy behind you.
Now, I would think for a young player, a rookie that's getting a lot of playing time, at times that's a hard concept to grasp.
Yeah, but you know, it simplifies.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But I think they try to, when they don't get their one, the next day if they don't get their one, they try to get 3 or 4 in one game.
Mark Reynolds, a prime example. You know, he came to the big leagues and just lit it up. Then when he starts to struggle, he tries to get it all back at once.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. You got to get your one. Once you get that one, 2 and 3 can follow.
Well, there's no doubt in the way you explained it to Miguel, concept is simple, and you just have to get out of your own way sometimes.
That's right.
7 RBIs, by the way, for J.D. Drew, an individual game high as well this year for the Red Sox. His brother, it's a one-hopper back to the mound. Ball game. Boston Red Sox continue to rule in the standings in the American League Eastern Division. They improved to 39-21. The D-backs still 10 over at 36-26. The game may be over, but our coverage continues. It's time to send it out to the Diamond Club in right field. Here's Brad. Here's Digger. Here it is, Quest D-backs Live, and it starts right, I think, about now.